Hi, my name is Dawn Wood, and I am your host of Workplace Culture Podcast, along with my co host, Priscilla Jaeger. So, today we're going to be celebrating and talking about International Women's Month, special edition. We're also going to be doing a rewind of our very first episode. So, welcome to the podcast. We're so glad you're here. Today's episode is dedicated to International Women's Month, which is typically in March. But we should be celebrating this a lot longer than just March. It's a time to honor the resilience, the brilliance, and the determination of women around the world. But beyond celebration, this month is also about truth. It's about recognizing the very real struggles that women continue to face in the workplace and the courage that it takes to challenge every single day. So, why does this matter? International Women's Month is not just symbolic, it's actually rooted in generations of advocacy. Women demanding fair wages, safe working conditions, leadership opportunities, and the basic dignity of being heard. So, even today in the modern workplace, we still have some challenges. Women across industries continue to face pay inequity, leadership bias, emotional labor expectations, workplace harassment, sexual harassment, discrimination, and the double burden of professional and caregiving responsibilities, be that with their children, with their animals, or with their parents that they're now taking care of. These are structural patterns requiring structural solutions. So we looked at leadership and accountability in our leadership, in our company, and in ourselves. True workplace culture transformation actually requires measurable accountability. Organizations must implement transparent pay practices, equitable promotion pathways, inclusive leadership development, and safe reporting systems, as well as a safe workplace to work in. So, this is a call to action. Equity is not achieved through awareness alone, it demands daily commitment, mentoring emerging leaders, interrupting bias, and advocating for policy reform, building cultures where humanity and performance coexist. And so, in this episode, we're going to rewind back to our very first episode, which was super special in March of 2024. Our special guest was Nichole London, celebrating International Women's Month, celebrating women in the workplace, discussing challenges, discussing things that we would love to see change. Also, in the description, if you're an avid reader like myself and Priscilla, there is a suggesting reading list that I highly encourage that you take a look at and read when you have time. And with that, Priscilla, are there any other comments that you would like to say about this throwback episode?
No, I think just give it a listen and enjoy. I hope that you walk away with some beautiful insights and how to be a woman in the workplace, honored and celebrated.
Thank you. And with that, let's take a look back to March of 2024, that very first episode of Workplace Culture. Welcome, Nichole.
Thank you. It's good to be here. I love being with you ladies, as always. If I'm gonna tailor the conversation towards workplace and what that looks like, it's like we all have a body, right? We all have emotions, and we all have the way in which we move through the world in our how we navigate the world through the way we perceive it, the way we imagine things should or shouldn't be, how we have attachment wounding, like the way we get our needs met. And very few of us actually know how to distill the differences between what is happening inside of me What is the emotions I'm actually feeling or not feeling? How do I disassociate or come to those things? How do I allow my emotional spectrum to be felt without feeling like I'm going to explode everywhere or die, or like, there's so much repression that happens, or we disassociate. We go into any of the trauma responses, the fight, the flight, the freeze, the fawning, submitting, and all of those are levels of authority. And so when I really sit with like, what do I do in the world when it comes to mentoring and healing and coaching, it's that I call myself now a liberation specialist instead of a rehabilitation specialist, because I help people liberate themselves and their mind, their bodies, their spirits, their emotions, like how they connect to the cosmic world, and in their everyday experiences, their practices, their rituals, and how they move through life. And I think so much of this comes back to a level of sovereignty, a level of self-trust, a level of understanding how to not only feel and know our needs, but then learn how to express those in a way that feel in alignment with who we actually want to be in the world. And so boundaries is one of those skills, right? We get to learn boundaries on how do we proclaim my love out loud as a boundary, because that's what boundaries are. It's a level of self-love, self-respect, and self-trust that I know what feels good and doesn't feel good. I know this is meeting or not meeting my needs. And my level of self-authority will translate in the way that I show up in the world through my energy, through my boundaries, the way that just my presence, if I'm connected. If I'm with myself enough to say, hey, that didn't feel good. And I'm unwilling to have that type of conversation with you if you'd like to renegotiate a different way of doing this, and how do we do that? And so I have had 20 years experience, over 10,000 hours of hands-on experience with clients and patients, from anywhere from somatic wounding to body rehabilitation to mental and emotional collapse to physical and mental and emotional rehabilitation combination. There's so much in which the body holds our emotional landscape, right? And the emotional landscape will then express itself if it's not being heard or seen. So a lot of times I tell people I'm a relationship coach between you and your body. Like, you guys have learned how to not have a healthy relationship because you were taught to do stuff like obey. We grow up in schools and governments and religious systems that we're taught to deny the body and to obey the external authority, right? And so in that externalized authority, we tell our body to shush, be quiet, or we force our body into submission on some level. So we start to have this abusive relationship with ourselves, and then we wonder why we call in abusive relationships in the world. It's like our very first relationship is with our body. And if we cannot understand what it needs, how to support it, how to navigate those needs, how to communicate those needs, how to then hold boundaries when those things are or are not being held, then it creates a level of dysfunction. And so the dysfunction always comes back to the internal world, the internal landscape, and the internal relationship we have with ourselves and our bodies. And so as I know I've worked with Priscilla as well, like for my own body, and it's been powerful. When somebody else has eyes on you, whether it's physically, emotionally, mentally, any of those spaces, it helps you mirror back what you can't see, what you can't feel, what you can't notice. And so the gift of having mentors and coaches and healers and support teams across this whole landscape is that we get to mirror back all of the places that we may or may not be in improper relationship with the self. And so I love working on every single part of the spectrum, the mind, the body, the spirit, the science behind it, all of the like, how do we experiment with knowing what's actually true for us? And then the ritual, the practices of how do we come to then embody them, integrate them into our world? Because I also think a huge part of what gets dismissed, especially in the patriarchal landscape of capitalism, is we've denied all of these parts of integrative medicine, which is in the body. Somatic, like subconscious, all that stuff goes into the nervous system, which is the body. And if we can't merge the union of the masculine and the feminine, the solar, the lunar, these other places within us, we cannot unionize right relationship out in the world. And that's with ourselves with the people around us, with everything. And like you said, Dawn, the way we do anything is the way we do everything to some extent. So you work with the gateway that's presented to you, and then it'll start to unravel all those other places. So I'll pass back.
Thank you, Nichole. Appreciate that.
We hope that you enjoyed this episode, and we talked about a few books that we're going to add in our show notes. And I just wanted to share a few of my top favorites since we're honoring and highlighting some of the women in our lives. Dawn and I have some shared interests, and so we're each going to share three of our top favorite books that have been written by some amazing women. And we hope that maybe you're inspired to go check them out. And I'm just going to say my first book choice for any woman out there to read is Shelley Campbell, The Wealthy Spirit, Daily Affirmations for Financial Stress Reduction. That book is just such a sweet, like, daily read, and every day has a little story and a little affirmation to help support you on your financial journey and really calm stresses. I think when we're talking about workplace, why do we go to work? We go for a paycheck. So, really using your money to the best that you can. Dawn, do you want to share what's your top favorite book you would like to recommend?
Yeah, my top one, I'm going to say for sure, is blah, Florence Scovel Shinn. Let's say that 5 times fast. She is amazing as far as not just work. I think just life in general. She really is a huge proponent of your words are magical. Your words are a wand. And I tell you, throughout life, living, if you've got friends or family or people that bosses, oh my goodness, coworkers who are extremely negative, and that's all that comes out of their mouth is negative, then you find that heaviness weighing down upon you. And I see this so often in the workplace where bosses are super negative instead of building up their team. And then it becomes contagious. It's like a virus where all of your, colleagues and coworkers start feeling the same way and start kind of parroting that negativity, and it can literally destroy a team, a workplace. Even industries have fallen because of this. Relationships have fallen because of this. And Florence Scovel Shinn uses, many writings of famous speakers who have believed in kind of manifesting your own destiny, as well as quotes from the Bible, in Christ, the way that he spoke about how important your words are, to speak truth, to live in your truth, but to speak positively. Of course, with respect, we don't, want to speak to someone with disrespect, but boundaries are super important, especially for those who are disrespecting you and speaking negative. Actually, Catherine Woodward Thomas and Florence Scovel Shinn both speak in their books about gossip and about venting and speaking negatively, and how they would just like get up and walk away from a table from people who were doing that because it's not helpful at all. And so I totally recommend both Catherine Woodward Thomas, Calling in the One, which is not just about the book is very deceiving, the title, where you think that it's about just your relationship. It talks about work relationships. It talks about family and friend relationships. And then Florence Scovel Shinn, the complete work. She also has Your Word is Your Wand. Both of those speak affirmations and a shift in your mindset, which I think is the very first step in fighting, any of the discriminations, any of the workplace problems that are happening. I think it starts with us. We have to take accountability and make that change from within to without.
Yeah, I, I'm so stoked to read that one. We read The Calling in the One, and Catherine, of
Yeah,
course, is on my top list as well.
yeah.
So, yeah, I'm just gonna echo Catherine Woodward Thomas, Calling in the One. That's like a must read for anyone. And I have still yet to read the Florence Scoville-Shin.
Scoville
Yeah, that
chin.
is a tough one to say.
I know.
Florence Scovel Shin.
Yes.
The Complete Works is the book that you have to
Yeah.
recommend.
The complete
But
works, but your word is your wand. They both kind of have a lot of the same content in it. She focuses more on your word is your wand, on again speaking. What you say is extremely important. And so if you say things like I've known people that have said, I'm so stupid. Why would you say that? Well, it's probably because that's something that came down from parents or bosses or people, that were older than them saying a cruel comment that became part of their inner being and psyche. And so then throughout life, they're carrying this horrible baggage that says they're stupid. And that's not true.
yeah, yeah, yeah. The power of our words is,
Hmm.
yeah. So if everyone knew how to like really what you said on the gossip, like especially in the workplace, is just so impactful.
Right.
Another book that I would love to share that really actually changed me in so many ways when I was working in the corporate world, actually. This book was a huge one for shifting kind of the way I think. And it was by Elizabeth Gilbert called Big Magic: Creative Living Beyond Fear. That book really got me through some different ways of thinking, especially when I was in the workplace of like, thinking, oh, I made that spread. Like my ego was so in the way. That spreadsheet's mine, or I did that. Give me credit, validate me, things like that. And her book is really great at helping you realize like you can have dreams and ideas and go for them and also keep trying for them, and a reminder that you might see things happen that, were an idea of yours, but it didn't come through you, it came through someone else. And just having gratitude for that, being excited for other people and the fact that something you envisioned actually came to fruition, whether it was through you or not. I see that even in my neighborhood right now where I'm like, oh my gosh, these ideas that I had, they came in this form, but not in the way I really thought, but they're here and they didn't have to come through me. And how great is that? It's here. That's what matters. Um,
Right. And that's, I think, something that also needs to be discussed is how women, especially in the workplace, climbing that corporate ladder and being in such competition, which is not a mode that women should be in at all. Let's save competition for sports. The backstabbing, the negating someone else, the fighting for recognition, instead of bonding together and building each other up. That's such a powerful shift in mindset that you will automatically, if you start living your life this way, building up other women, and it could be that you had an influence in your life, a mother, a boss. I've had a lot of dragon lady bosses, unfortunately. And it becomes kind of this fear thing where they cause competition between women to get to a certain place because that's what they had to do. And when you start shifting and accepting and valuing your female friends and lifting them up and celebrating their successes the same way you would do that at work, celebrating their successes. I make a point every single month in our all hands meeting to lift up another woman and celebrate her for all of the hard work that she does. And it's become contagious. I'm noticing not just women, but the men in our company are doing the same thing where they're lifting up, people that have gone years without recognition. And I think that's important to, but not only your boss recognizing you, because that's not going to happen, especially if they're super busy, for your coworkers and colleagues to lift each other up, stand, I got your back. I'm, so proud of you. I'm celebrating you. This is so wonderful. And I appreciate you. I make a point to say that to all of my coworkers. I appreciate you. And I've noticed that it comes back now and we're saying it all to each other. So again, that's contagious. If you shift your mindset instead of thinking, that person's out for my job, or, oh, that person is in competition with me, or I need to make them look bad and make myself look good. And I'm the one that created that, not them. I think and if you shift your focus towards appreciation, that you're going to see some pretty magical shifts.
yeah. Yeah, for sure. I always have Tony Robbins in my head with that, where it's like
Yes,
trade your expectations for appreciation. It always
absolutely. It's true. It's
it
so
makes a
true.
huge difference. Okay, what's your third book recommendation?
Let's see. I would say Sarah Cape, which is the Woman's Workplace Survival Guide, and she just gives some tips and tools. I think if you read it, you'll be like, where has this book been all of my life? So, one of the biggest things, of course, especially for women, and especially for those of us who are people pleasers, we have a really hard time saying no. And even if it's a personal matter, like being asked, I remember in my 20s, in my 30s, and even, 40s, I would bend over backwards and twist myself into knots to please my boss. So if they called me on, off hours, or they emailed me on the weekend, or they were like, oh, you're going to be available on your vacation, right? I'm going to need you. I would say, okay. And I would do it. And it never got me anywhere. It did not make me rise on the corporate ladder. That was just me working myself half to death. And just happened to be availability. I'm not, downplaying my skills. I'm just saying that people pleasing mode did not help my career at all. In fact, I think it hurt it. And so learning boundaries and learning when to say no, you don't have to over explain yourself at all. I think is important. And at first, if you've been a people pleaser like myself, you're going to find you're going to get resistance, but you got to just keep at it. Keep consistent. You don't have to get mad or emotional. You can just say, I'm sorry, I'm not available. I'm not going to have phone, access. Because if you're on vacation, or, for whatever reason you're taking PTO, that's part of your benefits package. You don't have to be available 24/7. I mean, unless you're, like a 911 operator, that's your specific contract. Um, but I'm just saying it's not something that is required and I think in our mindset as women, we think that we have to do more, prove more, show more than our male colleagues.
Yeah, and that's felt by so many people, and it kind of ties me into like my next pick is going to be Terry Cole, Boundary Boss. That is such a great book all around how to set boundaries in like a
Hmm.
clear and concise way. They don't have to be done with like aggression or with anger. A lot of people, I know I've had to learn I'm always learning how to set boundaries in a better
Hmm.
way. And she
Right.
has really great examples. So Terry Cole, she's a really great one to follow around boundaries. She's just like my favorite person to listen to. And she's also in alignment with like the Catherine Woodward Thomas kind of teachings as well, talking true, speaking what's really
Right.
true for you, getting in tune with yourself and what's going on with you instead of like lashing out. And yeah, to go with what you're saying, how many people I know that even entrepreneurs, it's just so funny how we get stuck in this rut of like we need to respond to people like really, really fast. And I love teaching those boundaries in my own business when I work with people in coaching and let them know, hey, I work Tuesday through Saturday. That's when you'll get a hold of me. You're not getting a hold of me at all on Mondays.
Hmm.
And
Or Sundays.
yeah, and Sunday's like my day off, but Mondays
Right.
I'm not going to be on Instagram. I'm not online at all. It's my own boundary I hold for myself, but I make it clear for people in my community, hey, you're not going to get a hold of me on Monday because I'm off.
Right.
But just setting those boundaries and then above all, sticking to them. And I know so many people that check their emails. It's always the emails. They're checking their
Yeah.
emails because they're so afraid of what emails are going to get missed or not followed up on. Or, it's
Right.
like set your out of office and leave it, and just trust that you will get to the emails when you're meant to get them. But take your vacation, stop checking your emails.
Right.
But those are boundaries with yourself that you get to hold, which is again why I love Catherine Woodward, Terry Cole.
Hmm.
Like those are the two that and
Right.
even Shelley Campbell talks about that. Like have do nothing days. Give yourself permission to be with you and not feel like you have to respond to people and people please and go down those paths. Like we get to choose a new way, and that new way is putting yourself first and foremost. and
Right.
trusting that people will respect you and your boundaries, but you have to respect you and your boundaries first. So, yeah, I just love all of these book choices, and I love doing this podcast with you because it's so nice to have a list of, yeah, new books to read, things that I haven't
Right.
read as well.
Agreed. These are so helpful. And I think that our listeners are really going to love all of them.
I agree. All right, if you read any of them, please comment and let us know, and let us know which one resonates the most for you.
Absolutely.
All right, we will wrap up. Anything you want to leave with the guests to know?
Just that, again, International Women's Day is celebrated in March, but I think we still, as a society, have a lot to do in the workplace. And it begins again with us. We have to, we have to kind of rise up and say what it is that we want and stick together and raise each other up. This is not competitive. I mean, that is something in corporate America that I have seen up until the current company that I'm working for, and I'm blessed to have this experience that I'm having now. But I tell you, that took a lot, Priscilla, of a lot of soul searching, a lot of, counseling that I've done with you and with Nichole, who again was our guest on the first episode, and just really learning some hard lessons about people pleasing. And, God and the universe brings into my life these lessons every once in a while. It's like, okay, did you learn your lesson? Are you going to people please again? Are you going to stand up for yourself and have some boundaries? Are you going to take this woman that you work with and you're going to have a competition with her in the workplace? Or are you going to set some boundaries and raise her up and tell her how much you appreciate her and stand together united in your company so that the more of you that do that, the more the company has to change? Or you realize this isn't the right company. I do need to move on. I do need to value myself and work for a place, because there are places, I tell you, out there that have a very good appreciation, diverse workplace, appreciate whatever race, religion, sex that you are, doesn't matter. They appreciate you and value that diversity. And I think that hopefully that is a way that we're all moving forward. And again, it's just going to take us all starting within, getting the healing that we need within, making those practices, and then holding other women up so that we can all stand united in that fight.
Yes, yes. All right. Well, we're going to wrap it up. Thank you so much, and we'll catch you on the next episode.
Yes, thank you.